Hey guys, Kudus Campbell here for TheButtonSmashers.com, and this is our review for Destiny 2.
I am a ghost. More importantly, I'm your ghost. And you are one of the travelers chosen. You are a guardian. This is your destiny.
Before we begin this journey down the rabbit hole called Destiny 2, I'd like to state for full disclosure that I've not played a single second of the first Destiny game. It's a game that I completely avoided due to lack of interest. As many of you may have noticed based on the reviews I've worked on for this site, I'm predominantly more inclined to play role-playing games than anything else. In fact, I think this may be the first first-person shooter review that I've worked on. Now, though I don't have any particular interest in Destiny or most other FPS titles, I approached this review with the same amount of respect and care that I do with others. What this meant was me watching an hour-and-a-half long video on YouTube by the YouTuber named My Name is BYF, covering the lore and plot of the first game before beginning the second. And I will admit that after a few minutes of watching the video, my fascination towards the game increased exponentially. I'm not quite sure how much of the lore covered in the video was in the first game itself, as this was a second-hand account of it, but damn do I dig the idea of the Traveler and the entire sci-fi premise of this game. As a fan of Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, and the Mass Effect series, including Mass Effect Andromeda, it was easy for me to like. Also, I want to take a moment to recommend the aforementioned video, even if you have no intention to ever play the game. I'll leave a link in the description below. Okay, so backstory out of the way, how about we talk about the game in question? Destiny 2 opens in a very interesting way. I want to point out the first thing I noticed after creating my crap character that I spent less than 5 minutes to create was the exceptional voice acting.
Ikora, if you tell me this is a practical joke, well, it kills me to say it, but I would be really impressed.
Impressing you, Cade, is the easiest thing I'll do all day.
Let's get serious, people.
Zavala, this is my serious face. Can't you tell?
Ikora, what have you got?
Someone or something has sabotaged the Skyline defense systems.
And comms have been spotty for the last few hours. Every sensor beyond the wall has gone dark.
Maybe it's just the storm. Maybe it's...
In this new game, the story is focused on a new race in the series that attacks the tower, crippling the Traveler, taking away the light from every Guardian, and pretty much killing every last one of them, except for you and the other 1.3 million players, of course. This all being part of a grand plan for this new race to take the light from the Traveler and become immortal. Now, though this plot may initially seem straightforward, it does have a couple twists in there for those who may not have played a lot of games like this. When I started getting into the thick of it, I found myself deeply invested in what was going on, especially with regards to the leader of the new villains. That being said, everything exceptional about the story has nothing to do with the aforementioned shit main character. He or she is nowhere to be seen in most of the cinematic cutscenes in the game, or the decisions around them. This discrepancy between the player character and the overall plot of Destiny 2 ultimately breaks the immersion of the game. In a sense, what we get with this game are two different games running in parallel. One, a compelling tale about a band of depowered guardians fighting for survival, while the other happens to be the experience of the little silent shit that does the bidding of the other amazing characters in the real story. Think of it like being in a group, doing all the work that the entire group should be doing by yourself, and then when the work is completed, everyone else gets credit except you. Even the random talking cockroach on the wall gets a bit of recognition. Wouldn't that be the most shit experience ever? Well, that's the way Destiny 2's campaign feels from the perspective of the player character. So, is the story good? Yes, it's an engrossing epic story that captivated me, but every time I saw my team meeting to discuss our next move, I noticed my character wasn't there. I thought, wait a minute, what the frack is my girl? What the frack, game? This, along with the sad truth that my character suffered from a strong case of silent protagonist-itis, was enough to affect my overall enjoyment of the game. I like the story, but I'd like it even more if my character had more of an impact on it. And also if the progression wasn't hindered by the MMO grind quests that are not optional due to the campaign missions being locked behind a leveling system. As for the gameplay, well, that's where this game shines. Or at least that's what I'd like to see, but I can't. I, just don't like MMOs. And though Destiny 2 disguises itself as a partially single player game for the sake of players like myself, it still showed quite clearly what its focus was. As I just mentioned, during my time with the game I noticed that I couldn't progress the story unless I was at a certain level. This meant that I was forced to do random quests and public events till I was at an appropriate level and then continue the story. I didn't enjoy having to do this as I was mainly interested in the plot, not fighting the same enemies I had defeated the first time I entered a particular area for the 100th time. Now granted, this is not a jab at the enemy design or the FPS gameplay. In fact, I like the variety of enemies and weapons in the game. What I hate is the prolonged exposure to them that eventually cheapened their appeal to me. This, as well as the millions of random weapon drops that get you to like a particular weapon, only to find the next new thing that has a higher number than the one you already have equipped, diminished my overall experience with the game. Again, as I said, it felt cheap, which sucks because the combat is pretty satisfying. If not for it being prolonged for the MMO crowd, I think I'd have appreciated it a lot more. As a fan of RPGs, grinding is not something that I'm not familiar with, but when playing FPS games I prefer to focus on the story and complete the game in a short period of time. And no, I didn't play much of the multiplayer other than the public events. Our intention is to cover the other multiplayer aspects of the game in a separate video when the PC version releases in October. Graphically, the game looks fantastic. I think this is one of the aspects of the game that I have no critiques about. The character models are detailed and the environments are sort of awe-inspiring, with some locations looking so good that one could take a screenshot and claim that it was art from a 90s science fiction novel and I'd believe it. The word I'd use to describe the visuals is stunning. So, with all that I've had to say about Destiny 2, here is our final verdict.
Guardian, something's wrong.
Do not look at me, creature. You are weak, undisciplined, cowering behind walls. You're not brave. You've merely forgotten the fear of death. Allow me to reacquaint you.
Destiny 2 is a game that in a way feels too clever for its own good. It tries to ride the fine line of being an MMO while at the same time serving up a single player campaign similar to the kind that one would find in a game like Call of Duty. It's a game that doesn't know what it truly wants to be with regards to its plot. It has the elements for being something that could appeal to everyone, but in the end the lack of voice acting for the main character and the way in which the cutscenes were handled left me feeling a bit disconnected from what was an otherwise great plot with very interesting characters. Now this doesn't mean that you won't like the game. If you like MMOs and have a couple of other friends who picked up this game, then this may be an enjoyable experience for you. I just happen to prefer to do most of my gaming alone, except for the few occasions when my mates drag me out of my comfort zone. Thank you very much for watching this review of Destiny 2. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like and a comment in the comment section below to let us know what you think about the game. And if you'd like to see any other content like this from us, make sure to subscribe to this channel.